You know, the arrogance and the hubris of Western civilization sometimes never ceases to amaze me, as we literally collapse as a civilization, as, truth tellers within our civilization are targeted for political purposes. In all of our hubris, we have the arrogance to sit there and tell other countries how to run their business. But quite hilariously, as we've seen in Uganda, the United Arab Emirates, and now Turkey, many countries are now standing up to a weakened and degenerate Western world and just saying, no, actually, I don't think we're going to do that. And we're going to talk about that and a lot more on tonight's episode of The Vince Dao Show. Stay tuned. And we are live tonight from the great state of Florida, but in the third world republic known as the United States. Welcome everyone to the Vince Dao Show. I am your host, Vince Dao. And before we begin, everyone be sure to leave a like on the stream right now and subscribe to the channel if you are new. It is June 20th, the year of our Lord 2023, and we got quite the show for you. Turkey shutting down a pride march within the span of minutes. It is a, quite interesting video, I'll say, to say the least. We're going to react to that. Also, Andrew Tate has finally been charged in Romania. I know a lot of conservative channels have been scared to touch the Andrew Tate stuff. You know, we've been following it extensively because there's a lot of implications for, I think, political dissidence as it goes with the rest of the Western world, and we're going to be reacting to those charges. Also, Hunter Biden given a complete slap on the wrist. Is anyone very surprised? We're going to briefly cover that as well, and much more on tonight's episode of The Vince Dao Show. But before we begin, if you would like to support the show, or you got questions or comments that you want read and answered, feel free to send that in via the super chats. I will check these super chats regularly throughout the night. Of course, they are the best way to support the show, and they're the best way also to interact with the rest of the stream. All right, well, I don't have anything else here, ladies and gentlemen, so without further ado, because people say I go too long in the housekeeping portion sometimes, it is the hour of Dao. Let's get into the show tonight. All right, so let's get right into talking here about Turkey, ladies and gentlemen. So, apparently Turkey is not having it with the pride marches. Per the Twitter account Censored Men, apparently here is video. They tried to do a pride march in Turkey this week, and it was shut down there by the police in the span of minutes. Let's take a look and we'll react.
Neredesin aşkım? Buradayım aşkım. Ay, 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 ay. Yapma, yapma gazeteciyim. Ne yapıyorsun? Ya gidin abi. Güvenlemem diyor. O da beni aldırıyorsun. Tamam yeter. Neyi kapatıyorsunuz? Neyi kapatıyorsunuz çekmeyelim diye?
Yes, so there's the video. There's a video of them shutting down the Pride March. Now, what can I say, right? They do things a little bit differently in the Middle East. But, you know, as I've so often said, every time that this happens, Uganda, the UAE, now in Turkey, you know, people say, well, look, that's a little bit much, that's a little bit far, blah, 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 this and that. To that I say, perhaps that's your opinion. But what this fundamentally is anti-imperialism. And that's what I said on Twitter today. This is absolutely what we are watching. This is anti-imperialism. Countries like Turkey, Uganda, the UAE, just random countries around the world are actually standing up to the imperialism that is being shoved down their face from the West, which is exactly what it is. You know, and I know some people don't understand what I mean when I bring up this concept of pride flag imperialism, but that's exactly what this is right here. Where do you think these protesters got their ideas from? Do you think it was homegrown? Do you think they just came up with these things? Or is it particularly cultural forces in the West, right, in the United States, that actually push this stuff down other countries' throat? I think we have the answer. So I look at something like this and I say, well, look, people are going to cry free speech, which we'll talk about in a second. But my opinion is that these countries have a right to resist. They do. Okay, I actually believe in self-determination. I believe every nation should get to choose its destiny for itself. Countries like Turkey actually do have a right to resist the spread of Western imperialism on their countries. And when I look at them doing that, I honestly, genuinely say, good for them. Turkey is a country that has, you know, probably an Islamic heritage and just a socially conservative heritage that spans back several centuries. And again, if they want to protect their heritage, if they want to protect their country from the forced imperialism, the forced degenerate, and, you know, forced nonsense from the West, I say absolutely for it. And, you know, before you maybe perhaps cry, oh, free speech, Vince, this is hypocritical, you're a conservative, shouldn't you believe in free speech? To that I say, it's Turkey, okay? You know, they don't actually have a constitution, they don't have any of that stuff, right? It really is in that country, right? If you do something that goes against our common values as a culture, you know, boop, right? Exactly, right? You know how it goes, okay? And to that I say, even on the front, and I truly mean this, keep this in mind, I truly mean this when I say, stop trying to spread your values on countries that don't want it. That's a lesson that we should have learned from the Middle East over the past few decades. Even when you stand there and cry free speech, I would still say you are trying to force your values down another country's throat. The truth is that concepts like, you know, quote unquote democracy, free speech, all of these things, they don't actually exist everywhere in the world. And maybe hot take, they're not actually applicable in anywhere in the world. If you hand democracy, for instance, over to Iraq with like 3 different ethnic groups that want to kill each other, I really wonder what happens there. I really wonder what happens there. Is it all lolly jolly, or, you know, does a civil war break out immediately? This is exactly my point. I look at a country like Turkey. Is it a country necessarily I would want to live in? Probably not, but it's their country. I look at that. They seem to be doing just fine without all of our nonsense. And, you know, if you're going to cry free speech, this and that, we cannot even stop our children in this country from, you know what, you know, but we care so much about what Turkey does. Why? I don't care. And to an extent, I kind of actually laugh. I'm like, okay, well, you know, if they want to stand up to the degenerate forces of modern Western civilization, which is exactly what we are, I hate to say it, you know, I know it sounds unpatriotic to almost in a sense like root against your own hemisphere of the world, but truthfully speaking, the United States, you know, we used to export manufactured goods back when we had manufacturing power. We used to manufacture goods. We used to export goods, textiles, all that stuff. Now, what do we export? Well, the factories all closed. So what do we export around the world? Our culture? What is American culture? Degeneracy? This stuff? You know, all the nonsense we know about. And so, you know, I say to that, good for them, okay? And I truly do have to say I support all non-Western countries standing up against the forces of Western imperialism, because it is true. It is so 100% true, okay? And it is, in a way, also very hypocritical, because the people who call me unprincipled or whatever, they're going to come, well, cry free speech, free speech. Free speech does not exist in most of the Western world. You could argue to an extent it's kind of dying in America, but I get it. We have a First Amendment. I'm not here to complain about it particularly, although I would point out, hey, look at social media. Still, though, regardless, okay, Canada, free speech does not exist in Canada. If you went and tried to protest in many ways against the pride stuff in a certain matter, we know this. You can be arrested in Canada, in the EU, in the UK, right? And I don't hear very often the very conservatives who come crying to me about, look at these tyrannical Muslims. Why are they doing all this stuff? I don't hear them coming to me when actually it's like conservatives are people who get arrested for free speech in the Western world. I don't hear any care about that. But suddenly when Turkey, you know, kind of cracks down on the free speech thing, arguably from a right-wing perspective, only suddenly then people care. Genuinely, I don't care, okay? You know, these people knew when they went out and did the march that, hey, this is the way Turkey works. Okay, you didn't think they know that? You didn't think they knew they were breaking the law? They are there to enforce their own laws, and they actually did something we don't do in the Western world, which is they said they have these values. They turn those values into law. They said this is the law of the land. You know, these protesters effed around, and they found out. So, you know, I say, I'm not saying I agree with everything Turkey does, but genuinely, again, I support Turkey's right to self-determination, and I will push back against anyone who tries to stand up and be a Western imperialist and try to force the Western way of life down on non-Western countries. True. So true. So true. All right, well, we're going to move on here in a second, but first, let me get caught up here on the Super Chats, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you to everyone who has sent in Super Chats so far. So, Cedric Josh Camo for 137. I don't even know what currency that is. Is that pesos? Pounds? I don't even know. Oh, Philippines. Okay, there you go. Are you a practicing Protestant Christian? Yes, I am, Cedric. Love from the Philippines. God bless your work, Vince. We are with you. Well, thank you very much. We love our Filipinos. Okay, shout out to our Filipinos. We love the Philippines. Okay. By the way, if I'm not mistaken, I remember this was under Trump. I believe the foreign approval rating of Trump was actually the highest in Philippines out of any other country, and so we definitely have our people out there, and I appreciate it, Cedric. Shout out to Cedric. Thank you for the 137, whatever the Filipino currency is. I don't even know. I appreciate it. Burgundy Blue for $20. Thank you very much. Burgundy Blue says, as someone who is half Albanian, I always knew that the Turks were based. Also, it is the oldest and most stable nationalist republic in the Middle East, and they have great respect for the nationalist revolutionary Ataturk. Thank you for the $20, Burgundy Blue. I mean, I'm not really the biggest Ottoman Empire head, to tell you the truth, and you look at what they did to Armenia and all that stuff. That's obviously in the past. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a particular problem with the current Turkish state, although I will say I genuinely, at the same time, I don't think they should be in NATO, to tell you the truth. Some people say I'm inconsistent about this. I'm not. I declared them to be non-Western. At the same time, I don't think they should be in NATO. Why don't I think they should be in NATO? Well, because look at the Middle East. Look at how volatile that region of the world is. I don't really want to have to go to nuclear war for the sake of Turkey, but it is true. Thank you for the $20, though, Burgundy Blue. I appreciate it very much. And Hannah Salazar sends a $2 super chat, which is the first super chat from Hannah Salazar. So I appreciate that very much, Hannah. Thank you guys for the super chats. As usual, if you guys do want to support the show, the super chats are the best way to do so, and it is all greatly appreciated. Well, all right, let me take one brief sip of water here. And we will move on now to the Andrew Tate news, which we're probably going to spend about 20 minutes on because we got a lot to react to in this. Okay, so buckle up. But it is official. After 6 months of this so-called preventative arrest, prosecutors in Romania have finally charged the Tate brothers. They're finally bringing actual charges instead of just saying we're investigating and so you have to be in jail. And as you may have expected, we'll show you here in a second, the actual charges against them are about as ridiculous and nonsensical as I was warning people I really did think they were going to be. Now, as I have been saying, we'll get into the charges in a second, but let me contextualize the situation. As I've been saying, it has long seemed obvious to me that they actually have nothing on the guy. And this is something that Andrew Tate also brought up in the Patrick Bet-David interview, which is if they really had something, they would have dropped the indictment in 1 to 2 weeks, like a standard country, a standard justice system does. But they've investigating him since April 2022, found nothing. They throw him in this preventative arrest thing and hold him in jail and now on house arrest without charges for the full 6 months. You go 6 months, you're digging up all this evidence, you're going through every single aspect of the guy's life. You can't find one single charge, right? And so my suspicion has long been they have nothing. They have nothing against the guy, and they're going to the very end of the preventative arrest. 6 months is the maximum limit they can do this thing for. They wanted to push to the very end and try to see if they could find something, and our suspicions do seem to be true. They have not found anything. But again, like I said, that period that they can do this whole thing for has expired, or it's about to expire. And so as official of today, and as Tate and his brother predicted, they did finally bring forward the charges of rape and human trafficking in Romania, which are very serious allegations, but when you actually break it down and look at the evidence here, it seems to confirm all of our prior suspicions. And so we'll talk about that in a second. But before we get into that, there is one more thing I do want to point out here, which is the fact that just to go to show you how corrupt this entire thing is. If them extending it as long as they possibly could did not convince you, if them not really having evidence and whatever this is did not convince you, well, here, take a look at this. So according to Tate News here, DCOT, which is the federal agency over in Romania, also has noted in the indictment to confiscate over $380 million in US dollars of Bitcoin from the Tate brothers, 15 luxury cars, 14 luxury watches, and 15 lands of buildings. wait a minute now, I thought this whole thing was about human trafficking. I thought this was a criminal charge. What exactly is going on here, right? Yeah, because, you know, going to a rich guy and taking all his stuff, taking all his expensive stuff and leaving him behind with all of his cheap stuff, that is obviously a very normal thing that a very normal system, justice system does when they actually have real evidence against the guy, right? So again, it really does go to show you, what is this really about? This has always been about starving Tate of his resources, really just, you know, muzzling him, basically just using the justice system to stretch this thing out and harass him for as long as possible. So with that said, with the kind of context here understood, let's get into the actual charges, the actual allegations behind this human trafficking thing. So this is very interesting, because I know what everyone usually thinks when they hear it. They say, oh, well, didn't they, you know, way back, degenerate, past, whatever, they used to run a webcam studio, right? And so most people assume, oh, there must be human trafficking allegations tied to that, right? But actually, you look into this and you find it out, the actual charges and allegations they're bringing against them are, frankly, I'm not saying on a 0% chance it could possibly never be true, you know, whatever. But when you just think about it logically, even if you're not really on their side, it doesn't even make that much sense, okay? So apparently, the criminal indictment here states that in the year 2021, this is already when Andrew Tate was starting to blow up and become famous. Suddenly, according to the Romanian prosecutors here, in 2021, they formed a criminal gang with the purpose of kidnapping people. Of course, people like Destiny have brought up the argument, oh, the webcam studio, that was human trafficking. Well, they haven't done the webcam thing since 2017. So that was 4 years before this, okay? And according to Tristan Tate here, also of the alleged 7 victims, many of which on our side, none of them were involved in the webcam stuff. So the very common gotcha line that people were coming to me with and saying, this and that, that's not even what they're being charged with. But for a moment, let's assess that allegation and really ask ourselves if that makes sense. So when they were dirt poor, apparently, they were never involved in organized crime. When they were doing the webcam stuff, when they were rising to wealth, they never were doing organized crime. But suddenly, in 2021, when Andrew Tate started to become famous, and was already rich, by the way, he's already rich, he's starting to become famous, he's starting to shine a spotlight, all of the sudden, out of nowhere, he decided to form a criminal syndicate designed to allegedly kidnap people, and the victims that were allegedly kidnapped, many of them are coming out and saying they are not kidnapped, but DCOT is still naming them as victims in the case file. Does that sound really that believable to anyone? Okay? That doesn't even make any sense. That is so ridiculously unbelievable. It's crazy. I would almost think they'd try to come up with a better story than that. But really, all the years they've lived in Romania, all this stuff, you're going to say 2021, again, when they were already famous and rich, so they had no reason to commit the crime, and they also had the spotlight on them, right, when they were actually actively trying to become famous. All of a sudden, they became these organized criminals. That makes absolutely no sense. And if it couldn't get more obvious than that, okay, and it could never get more obvious that they really have nothing here, and they just want to abuse the legal system as much as possible to go after him because he is countercultural, and like I've said in the past, I virtually guarantee you Romania is facing a lot of international pressure from Europe, the EU, all of that stuff. Well, it's actually estimated here that this case is expected to take several years. Okay, I think they're actually saying it could take up to 4 years to reach a verdict in this case, which is, of course, not entirely necessary. Why does that have to be that way, right? But they're saying it could take several years, and the house arrest, we'll find out tomorrow, could actually continue till the very end of the trial. So hypothetically, they could be kept in several years of house arrest, not being able to leave their house, not having access to a bunch of their assets, just because of the stupid case that's going to take several years. Okay? So what I look at that and I say 100%, they are simply trying to throw everything they have at the guy, right? Abuse every facet of the Romanian legal system. So preventative arrest, for instance, which, by the law, it can actually go on for 6 months, but normally it only goes on for 1 to 2. But let's extend, we have nothing on the guy, right? But let's extend the preventative arrest the entire 6 months so that way we just make his life as hard as possible. And then when we finally bring these bogus charges that, on paper, they don't even seem to make a whole lot of sense, right? And when they bring these bogus charges, and we know they're bogus. Let's make this trial take as long as possible and try to keep them in house arrest for the entire time and seize assets because we're a broke Eastern European government who needs to take their money. Let's take their money in the meantime while we figure out this trial that's going to take several years. It is so unbelievably obvious, folks. I mean, again, yeah, is there a non-zero chance I'm entirely wrong and they're the frauds that, you know, everyone that on Destiny was right or whatever, the Matrix was right? I suppose. But let's play the probability here. You see the way they're treating this. You see what they're doing here. If they really had something against the guy, it would not take 8 months of investigation and 6 months of preventative arrest to find charges. It took that long. The charges don't even seem to make a whole lot of sense. If they were really these international human traffickers, you would expect that the time period they were actually doing the human trafficking may have been, you know, the other period, not 2021 when they were already famous. The whole thing is frankly just ridiculous. It smells like nonsense to me, and I suppose we'll have to see. I suppose we'll have to see, but I'm certainly hoping that real justice prevails here. To be totally honest with you, looking at how this has been handled so far, I hope the judge is good. I hope that, you know, there's no corruption involved here, and even not just from the Romanian government, from the EU, from the CIA, from the United Kingdom, all those entities. It definitely does concern me, but I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see what happens there on that front, I suppose. So that is my take on the charges here, but we move on here. Andrew Tate himself actually has a video responding to the charges that were placed against him today. In that last segment there, I broke it down myself and gave you my thoughts and explained why I have a strong inclination this entire thing is bogus. The charges are bogus. But now let's hear his side of the story.
So I just wanted to have an informal conversation. I was going to put a suit on and do this formally, but I think it's better if I do this informally. Highlighting some of the things that everybody already knows about how the Matrix operates and what they're trying to do to me and what I believe is going to happen next. It's quite interesting that they are attacking me and attempting to vilify me at the exact same time, whereas real predators, which work for the media establishment, are being ousted. So it's really interesting to do a juxtaposition and do a comparison, right, between how they will treat Philip Schofield, who is confirmed as a groomer, who is admitting he has committed sexual crimes, and how they'll treat me.
For the Americans like myself, apparently this is a guy who used to work for the BBC, or I think he still does. I don't know. He used to work for the BBC, and he was basically grooming people. So yeah, it's true.
A man with no convictions and no admission of sexual crimes. Look at the differences in the headlines. Look at how soft they are in their interviews with him.
You've had quite the week. How are you?
Look at how
Sorry to pause, but imagine that, okay? This guy has admitted to grooming men and, you know, committing sexual crimes. And the very first question the BBC asks him is, how have you been doing? Are you okay? Are you okay? Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Now, after only 2 or 3 days, the headlines are saying we should forgive him and feel sorry for him and let him off. Whereas me, who's been under constant media assault for over a year, they never let up. They never change. Someone sent me a clip yesterday of Philip Schofield saying he's going to kill himself and how sad he is.
Last week, if my daughters hadn't been there, I wouldn't be here.
Why do they keep pushing me? Why do they keep pushing me, playing the sympathy card? And all the headlines are now like, yeah, we can't keep attacking this poor man. For 1 year they've attacked me, and they will not stop.
Goodness.
And this highlights the difference between the people who are on the side of the establishment and the people who are not on the side of the establishment. I've been offered to sell my soul very many times. I want everyone at home to understand, you do not become the most Googled man on earth, especially amongst a demographic of young men which have money to spend, without very large companies and corporations becoming extremely interested in you. I've been offered $50 to $60 million by companies I'm not going to name. All I had to do was shut up. Shut up, take the money, wear the stupid hat, wave around the stupid drink, whatever it is.
That's a shot at Logan Paul and KSI based. You know, I used to like both of them growing up, but I lost so much respect for them. When Logan Paul was literally there when Tate got banned, and many other times, Black Lives Matter, all this different stuff, he's literally like reading a pre-prepared statement off of his phone saying, I don't think hate speech should be platformed. What an unbelievably idiot. You know, Jake Paul, at least, you know, he has a mind of his own. Logan Paul, just unbelievable. Anyways.
And continue
disgrace
to agree with whatever the Matrix says, regardless of my own personal feelings, my personal views and beliefs, and just push it on the minds of young children. And I refuse to do that. I refuse to sell my soul. If I would have sold my soul to a large corporation, and then this attack happened, which I very much doubt this level of Matrix attack would have even happened to me, but if it did, then this large corporation would speak to the media, and the media would be treating me like they treat Philip Schofield. They wouldn't be treating me as an enemy, they would treat me as an ally. All I had to do was sell my soul, and I refused. The recent BBC interview that took place, I don't think most people understand genuinely how snaky that interview was. The reason I had to destroy her so ruthlessly is because of how the interview was set up. When I was in jail, the BBC was constantly trying to get me to give an interview over the phone, and I refused. When I left jail, the BBC begged me for an interview, daily, begging me. And for 3 months, I refused. Eventually, once I understood, after my 3rd month of house arrest, what the Romanian government is going to do to me, which we're going to discuss shortly, I thought now would be a good time to get an interview. BBC begged me, saying that Romania has one of the most corrupt justice systems in Europe, that there's serious problems.
BBC off the record said that? Oh, but no. Oh, we trust the Romanian justice system. Oh, sorry. Mate, we trust the Romanian justice system, mate. Yeah.
With the case, lots of evidence that's been leaked shows Andrew's innocent, that Andrew's side of the story hasn't been heard, that we're interested in fair and unbiased journalism, that we don't want to come there and do a hit piece. We want to speak to him and try and find out the truth of what's happening. In fact, we're going to send you the questions we want to ask in advance. I'm not a coward. I never ask for questions in advance. I don't care, because I'm a professional, and I will destroy anyone instantly. But they sent us a list of questions, which was shown to me, and I was like, well, those are actually interesting questions. What's my mental health like? What's remaining in jail like?
Of them, yeah.
What's it like being in a courtroom where everyone's speaking a language you don't understand and having your liberty deprived of you? I thought, this is going to be an interesting interview. I agreed. The BBC, all nice smiles and all lies, sent us this entire spiel, turned up, turned the cameras on, sat down, and attacked me.
You know, it tells you a lot that, you know, journalists, the entire point of them in society is supposed to be to report the truth, and yet they are the biggest unbelievable liars and fakest people ever. And I will say, as someone who minimally, probably less than him, but has dealt with the liberal media, have the same exact experience. Now, I'm sure Tate was smart enough, perspicacious, is that the word he uses? Enough to know this. But, you know, they always do this. When I was going on Vice, for instance, they were the nicest people to me. Oh, we'll fly you out. We'll feed you food. The entire time they're there to set me up, right? And I knew that. I knew that going in. I was not, you know, blind to that. But it's true. They'll be the nicest people. Then they sit you down. It's a total setup. In some cases, they're actually even nice to you afterwards. And, you know, that's what they do. I will say, though, this is a step up that I've never heard of before. I've never heard of them sending a list of questions, sitting you down, and then literally asking none of those questions. Like, that is a level of dishonesty I've never even heard of liberal media. I'm sure it's happened before, but that's crazy. That's absolutely insane. I fully encourage, though, Andrew to publish the record of those questions, though. That's crazy.
Have you ever put any and applied any psychological control on any of the women you dated?
No, and I respect women. This idea that a man, that I'm so much smarter that I can hypnotize somebody, I think is extremely misogynistic idea. I think your idea is misogynistic to believe that women don't have their own free thoughts and free minds.
They attempted to sucker punch me. They attempted to shake my hand and knock me out with a sucker punch once the cameras were on, to hit me when I was off guard. They expected me to be off guard,
journalists are the
ready to
fakest
talk about
people
my
in
mental
society.
health, and hit me with these questions and me make a fool of myself, unaware that I'm a master of Aikido. When you attempt to sucker punch me, it simply misses, and I destroy you.
So true.
Unmatched perspicacity. Just because I'm the best there's ever been, and me, with my quick thinking and nearly incomparable wit, can sit and destroy a professional reporter and her entire research team's preparation, just because I make that look easy, doesn't mean I should be forced to succumb to these unfortunate circumstances. 99% of the population, if they were tricked the way I was tricked, would look a fool on camera.
True.
They were very prepared to try and make a fool of me.
True.
But I'm the best there's ever been. Did they do this to Philip Schofield? No. Where was the BBC's outrage when Rolf Harris or Jimmy Savile were touching children? They don't care. Where's the BBC's outrage when certain other people, high level in society, members of the royal family, are caught having pictures with minors? They don't care. But they will continue to try and convince you that I am something I am not on repeat over and over and over again.
I would argue, though, in a way, it fits because the BBC is the British Broadcasting Corporation. It is state-run media for the British government. And so notice that, right? They cover up for the sex crimes involved in the royal family, Philip Schofield, all that stuff. But it actually is indirectly a declaration. You know, Andrew Tate is an enemy to the British state. We know what they're trying to do to them governmentally over there. So, I mean, I guess it fits. State-run media.
These people are worse than disingenuous. They are worse than simply liars.
Thanks for the super chats, by the way, guys. I'll read them.
They are a club, and if you sell your soul and join the club, they offer you protection, and if you don't, they aim to destroy you, which is what they're trying to do to me. The reason I decided to give the interview to the BBC is because I now believe that the next step, and I'm going to call it, because I've called everything that's happened to me so far. Look at my old interviews. I said, stage 2, they're going to try and put me in jail.
I understand that you get 3 strikes in this game. Strike 1 is they try and shut you up and discredit you, which I've just been through. Strike 2 is they try and put you in jail for no reason. And strike 3 is they kill you.
The truth is this. So I knew it was coming. I absolutely not knew it was coming because of how orchestrated it was. The only thing, and I'll state this at the beginning, the only reason I'm upset by being canceled is because I've expired one of my lives. I mean, I'd never kill myself. Don't fucking try. But, bro, because that's what's next. That's what's next. It's scary. I'm telling you, everyone thinks I'm paranoid. Everyone thinks I'm crazy.
So it's like,
I don't think he's crazy. I don't think he's paranoid at all. I know a lot of that would never happen. Really? Really? That was just a thought. I mean, if for instance, if the CIA, if the British intelligence, if they want someone, forget the Romanian government, if the forces in the further west want him gone, God forbid, it could happen.
every single organization on the face of the planet is corrupt. This is what I say to people. I say, listen, and I'm going to say this on this podcast now because I say it on every other one. I would never, ever kill myself. I truly believe they're going to come and they're going to try and kill me on a long enough time frame because they tried to shut me up and I won't shut up. They're either going to try and put me in jail or they're going to kill me. And I would never kill myself under any circumstances ever. And the reason I say this, and I say this to people, and they go, but what can they put you in jail for? And I'm like, how ignorant are you in your ignorance to believe they need a reason? You believe it's fair. You believe I can get a lawyer and prove myself innocent. That's not how it works. They decide you're guilty long before and they find a reason why. And it doesn't matter what you do about it, you will pay the fucking price. It's not fair. None of it is. Every single system's corrupt. It actually annoys me when people say that to me. Well, just get a lawyer. Why? They can't put you in jail if you're innocent. Yes, they fucking can. And that's what people don't understand about the world. They can and they do and they fucking will. And that's what's scary.
I'm going to call what's going to happen next. The Matrix is extremely angry. And they are angry because their weapons aren't working. I remain unfazed. This is the first time in history someone who was canceled became more popular than before. This is the first time in history where a full broadside of media lies for over a year across every single outlet that they control has failed. Nobody believes them. Nobody. So now what do? Well, I believe the UK is going to try and raise charges against me. Don't know what for. I've done nothing wrong. Something's going to appear from nowhere. In fact, I will say that I have some very high-level friends and some whistleblowers who are confirming exactly that to me.
Did you guys know they had apparently, confirm to me if this is true, I heard they had a national hotline in the UK that was literally just, if Andrew Tate has done something to you, please call us. Like a national hotline for this one guy. Can someone, British, anyone? Can someone confirm to me if that was real? I heard that on, from whatever. So, yeah, it is true. And I don't trust the British justice system, frankly, any more than the Romanian justice system. You look what happened with Tommy Robinson. That was a total sham, and many other cases. So
they've looked at me and thought, we have to get this guy. What's he done? Nothing. Find something. Who cares? Get some papers, move some papers around, get a judge who'll stamp him, and put him in jail. It doesn't matter that I've done nothing wrong. I also want to say that I believe the Romanian government is going to charge me. They're not going to charge me
update they did
because they have any evidence. And they're not going to charge me because I'm guilty of anything. They're going to charge me because after a 14-month investigation, 6 months of arrest, which is the maximum they can possibly give me without charge, I don't think they can just drop this. Imagine they just drop this tomorrow.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, we made it all up. Imagine that. What choice do they have but to charge me?
Yeah.
If they charge me, I have to go to trial. Now, of course, I still believe in Romanian justice. I really, truly believe that even with Romanian justice systems or matrix-controlled justice systems, I will be found innocent. Because I know the case file, I know what's in it. But that's going to take years. They're going to waste 1.5 to 2 years of my life, make me go to trial. Then when I'm found not guilty, it's been years. Who cares, right? Distance from event. If they drop it now, it's the biggest story in the world. They can't drop it. They're going to charge me. They're not going to charge me because I've done anything wrong. They're going to charge me because that's how the Matrix works. Unfortunately, I'm up against an enemy which I can't really, truly beat. I can't beat them. All I can do is continue to discredit them to the point where nobody believes them anymore. And I cannot do that without having perspicacious, intelligent people at home who are analyzing the situation and truly understand what is happening to me. If I have to martyr myself, if I have to some degree sacrifice my liberty and the quality of my life to highlight how the Matrix operates, how the legal system and the media work hand in hand to try and convince the populace somebody is guilty before a judge says they are guilty because they have pre-decided to say this person is guilty because of his wrong-think. If I have to sacrifice myself to do those things, then I guess at least my imprisonment is a noble one. And I'm a man. And although Romanian jail is as close to hell as you can find on planet Earth, if I have to suffer it, I will do that because I will not sell my soul.
And, you know, that's what I'll say is that I know very often people will say he's in it for himself. Vince, why do you even stick up for the guy, even though his human rights are being violated? He's a con artist. He's a selfish guy, whatever. I mean, to me, that's actually an incredibly selfless and virtuous message that I think a lot of people out there need to hear. A lot of young men especially, because there's a lot of young men out there who disagree with all this stuff. They disagree with the woke. They disagree with the quote-unquote Matrix. But they won't say anything because, you know, they're scared. They understand there will be consequences. And here basically is a general for a lot of young men, you know, charging headfirst in the battle, saying whatever it takes. I mean, we want to talk about, oh, he's just a con artist. He's just trying to sell Hustlers University. You know, the guy could just shut up, right? If he just shut up now, you'd have to imagine, you know, they'd probably drop the case. He could figure out something, or he could flee. Maybe, potentially, you know, you could figure out a way to get out of the country. He's doing none of those things. He's standing here. He's standing firm, basically being willing to martyr himself. And think what you will of the guy, but I think that's very noble. And I think that's what more countercultural, conservative, whatever it is, figures in our civilization need. Because that's what it's going to take. Look at Donald Trump, right? You know, and the same thing. You're the same type of moral cowardice you see on that front where people say, he needs to just drop out of the race. He needs to just give up, man. This indictment, he's not going to come back. It's like, who are you? Do you understand? Like, what are you thinking on that front? Okay, how can he as a man get this far and they're throwing everything they have at him and then now you're going to drop out of the race? It's the same exact thinking, right? But I think the men who stand there in the face of this stuff now will be remembered as the heroes that future generations stood up and said, hey, you know, now that in a metaphorical sense, of course, metaphorically speaking, now that the revolution is in full swing, you know, you're going to look back and remember at the guys who were the first guys to really stand strong and not just cave and totally succumb to the forces of the establishment, okay? So it's my opinion that in the future, you know, assuming we don't just collapse as a civilization and there is some type of revival, I think you will look back on the Donald Trumps of the world, world, for the older people and the more political people. For the younger people, you know, they might look back on the Andrew Tates and the Jordan Petersons of the world and say, you know, those were the guys who inspired us to start all of this. And we saw how they basically martyred themselves and went headfirst in the battle and didn't back down. And that's why we didn't back down either, okay? So, like, I know every single time I do Andrew Tate content, people go, I don't like him, no. I get the same hate comments every single time, same stuff. I've addressed it a million times. But genuinely, my big thing is, A, you know, his human rights, that's what's most important. But B, again, think what you will of the guy, but he is here. He is in this situation. And I think the fact that he is telling a bunch of people, both political people and non-political people, his movement is much bigger than the political realm that I operate in. He's telling people, don't cave to the matrix, don't back down, don't just cower in the face of this stuff. I think that is actually a very noble message of bravery and courage and honor that most people in the modern world, man or woman, do not have. We're literally all scared, right? You know, most people, they pretend to be liberals to pass their freaking school papers, and then, you know, they wonder why there's so much cowardice. You know, everyone, that's the biggest problem we all have. So
the point of this video is only to highlight and make clear the differences in how the people inside of the club are treated against versus the people who are outside of the club. And also for me to predict the future for everyone to understand, when new charges come, when new countries attempt to attack me, when the Matrix unrelentingly continues to print lies about me and try to convince the world that I am a bad person, I hope it does nothing else but show the world that I am a good person. These people are liars. The people they tell you are good are not good. The people they tell you are bad are the good ones. Do not believe a word that they say. All in all, my predictions for the future are not certain. My future is certainly not certain. Me neither. Whether I'll continue to breathe or continue to be free, nobody knows. But the one thing I can guarantee to absolutely everybody at home, and anybody who believes in me and my message, and anybody who listens to me speak, I will never sell my soul, I will never be controlled, and I will never lie.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There is the Tate response. Sulo brings up a great point in chat. He says, if he was truly just a con artist and not the real deal, he would back down, play their game, apologize, get a deal, and go back to living his rich life. Exactly. You know? I would say even now at the point he's at, he could hypothetically back out. There are plenty of ways where you could probably figure out a deal to ensure your freedom just by going silent or apologizing or just, you know, flipping to the other side. And, you know, the fact that he's not doing that, I don't know. I think there's something virtuous about it. I think there's something inspiring about it, you know, truly. But there's the Andrew Tate response. We are praying for justice truly in this situation. Just like him, I don't really know what's going to happen in this case. It's not even a matter of whether or not I trust the Romanian legal system, although everything we've seen so far, I'm not sure if I do, right? But it's bigger than that. My real concern here is, again, the EU, which basically controls the Romanian government. Because the country of Romania is mostly socially conservative, overwhelmingly Christian country. But the EU basically, you know, they're a puppet for the EU governmentally. Then you have the UK, you have forces in the United States, I'm sure. I know someone brought up the point earlier in chat, he needs to just get to the US embassy. That's the whoever brought that up. That's the problem, though, dude. Think about this. What is Biden going to do? Biden's going to turn him back over. That's the thing. Because if this were any other American besides Andrew Tate, you understand this. There have been Americans who actually went to other countries and committed crimes that the U.S. government, night and day, 24/7, is trying to strike a deal with that government to get them out. It happens all the time. And you see this happen all the time. You hear about it all the time. But Andrew Tate gets arrested in Eastern Europe, and he's an American citizen. Does the American embassy do anything? Does the British embassy do anything? No. So someone in chat brought that up earlier. That's what you need to understand. It's not even Romania, okay? It really is the forces of the UK and the US and the EU that are making this trial right here happen. You know, I'd have to imagine that's where the political pressure came from. And so there's nowhere to run in the West, truly, you know? Hypothetically, I'm sure he could run to, like, the Middle East or Russia or something, you know? But genuinely, I don't think it happens in the West. But yeah, we'll have to see. We'll just have to see what happens. And I do hope it is a fair trial. But You just never know. You just never know. All right, we're going to move on in a second to the Hunter Biden stuff and wrap up with our last stories here of the night. But first, let me get caught up on the rest of our Super Chats. So, Canuck, shout out to our Canadians. Canuck99 says $2.79 Canadian dollars. Thank you very much for the $2.79. Canuck99. We love our Canucks. Isn't that technically a slur against Canadian people? Or do they like actually, I guess there's a team called the Canucks, isn't there? I just remember in middle school, we actually used to call each other that. We used to, you freaking Canuck. I remember that we used to do that to insult each other for some reason. I don't know. I think I'm the one who made it up, actually. But anyways, Burgundy Blue for $10. Thank you very much. Burgundy Blue says, hey, Vince, whatever happened to Abby? I remember she was a super donor before my trip to Europe, but now I never see her in the comments. I wonder if she left after the rice hat incident. Thank you for the $10, Burgundy Blue. I have not seen Abby either. I'm not sure. I hope she's doing well. Hope everything's okay. She does have a family, so she might just be busy with that, not sure. But thank you for the $10, Burgundy Blue. I appreciate it. Well, listen, Burgundy Blue, you are doing a good job of being the mega donor in Abby's place, so we certainly appreciate it. Thank you for the $10, Burgundy Blue. God bless you. Dollar for dollar. For $5 says, in 2011, Canada banned Money for Nothing because it has an F-bomb. The lyrics come from an overheard convo between two appliance store workers in New York City, lol. Well, I can imagine what the conversations are like between appliance store workers in New York City. Thank you for the $5. I appreciate it very much. I don't even know it has that in the song. I've never heard that. Okay, Burgundy Blue for $5 says, do you think Mormons are the white Muslims? They believe Jesus is a prophet, not divine like Muslims. They practice polygamy and don't drink alcohol. Thank you for the $5, Burgundy Blue. I'm honestly not even super duper familiar with Mormon theology, but I have heard many Christian teachers in my world make that comparison. And so, I think in some ways, yeah, they are relatively similar doctrinally. I mean, I have no idea, to tell you the truth. I don't know enough about Mormonism, but I think from what I understand, it seems like a decent comparison. They do have, they're not the same, obviously, theologically, but they do kind of have those similar comparisons, in my opinion. Thank you for the $5, though, Burgundy Blue. I appreciate it very much. Hannah Salazar for $5 says, I wanted to celebrate that Bryson Gray's song made it to iTunes #3 on YouTube, but the YouTube chat blocked the title of the song. Blocked the title? What, isn't the song just called Reclaim the Rainbow? It blocked the title? That's crazy. And by the way, YouTube, it's my live chat, okay? I don't have those filters on my live chat. I like, they always do this too. You guys tell me this happens. There's another guy, I forget which one, but he always comes in saying they're censoring the super chats. And it's like, okay, I have community moderation myself, and I certainly don't ban the words rainbow, what is it? Reclaim the Rainbow. That's the name of the song. That's ridiculous. Thank you for the $5 though. And yeah, great to see. I heard that he's competing with Doja Cat, I heard. Which I don't even know what a Doja Cat is. I still don't know what that is. I'm 20 years old. I should know. Who is Doja Cat? Everyone says they like Doja Cat. What is a Doja Cat? Is it a cat that's a Doja? What does that even mean? And then someone explain, actually, I don't know what a Doja Cat is, but thank you for the $5. JD for $2 says, thoughts on Tlaib boycotting Prime Minister Modi at the Capitol. Rashida Tlaib did that. Well, why did she do that? Because, Pakistan, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, well, it's to be expected. Listen, Modi is based. We like Modi, okay? Oh, he's corrupt. I don't know. It's India. I don't care. We like Modi, okay? We're fans of Modi. And Tlaib, of course, she's just coping because, I don't know. What is it? Kashmir, whatever the region is. Thank you for the $2, JD. I appreciate it. Typical Tlaib behavior. And it's so funny because what is she going to say? Modi is a fascist. Modi is a fascist. When she supports the Middle East, which, you know, I don't know. It's just strange. I don't know. It's all strange. It's all strange. The Muslim progressives that are still left in the government, because there is starting to be this transformation happening, they really have the most inconsistent worldview ever, right? Because I'll stand here and say like, hey, look, the Middle East is doing this stuff, anti-progressive, anti-liberal, and they're like, But they turn a blind eye. But then simultaneously they're like, oh, screw India, it doesn't make any sense. It's all backwards. It's all backwards. But thank you for the $2, JD. All right, well, I'm gonna talk about this very briefly because there's not much else to say. But moving on here really quickly, and then we will go on to our super chat portion. I would be remiss if I didn't mention this. I don't even really particularly care to talk about it, but we have the news here. Hunter Biden today reached a plea deal with the Department of Justice to plead guilty in his tax and gun case, okay? So check it out. So he committed tax crimes, he committed gun crimes, he also committed a lot more crimes than that people are not prosecuting him, I should say, for some reason. Prostitution is illegal. I would not be surprised, to talk about rape and human trafficking with the last story, I would not be surprised if that was going on here, to tell you the truth. But all he's getting in this case is 2 years probation and enter a diversion program. People familiar with the negotiation said. So he's not going to jail. He's not doing it, meanwhile, while they indict Trump and while, all this stuff happens around you. And while, by the way, tax and gun crimes, most Americans would go to jail. Hunter Biden is getting this slap on the wrist. He's going to get 2 years probation and he's going to go to rehab. Hey, Hunter, don't commit tax fraud anymore. You're just misunderstood by society. Is that what this is? Tax Fraud Anonymous? Hi, I'm Hunter Biden and I am a tax fraudist. Hi, Hunter. Is that what's going to happen here? Are you serious? So the part of the reason I said I don't really want to talk about this is because it's just excruciating. We understand as a two-tier justice system. To tell you the truth, the only reason they're making Hunter plead guilty to anything at all is because that way they can look at this and say, hey, look, the Donald Trump indictment is not political because, look, we also went after Hunter Biden. Even though you didn't, you call this going after Hunter Biden? Tax Fraud Anonymous, that's what he's going to go to? So, it's absolute nonsense. It just makes me mad to talk about. I don't know what else to say. We understand this. This is a third world country, okay? I know some people don't like when I say that, but it is true. At least politically speaking. In terms of our politics, America is becoming a third world country. You have the elites, the quote-unquote matrix establishment, right, that get away with everything, including literal murder. And on the other side, Donald Trump comes along, speaks up to the system, and suddenly they're after him. We understand this. I don't even want to talk about it anymore because we just get it at this point, and it's just excruciating. So, with that said, I am going to propose instead an alternate segment so that way we end this show off on a positive note. And so, while they're destroying the West all around us and they're flying pride flags at the White House center, breaking flag code, and while Hunter Biden is, getting totally off scot-free, sorry, not scot-free, he's going to Tax Fraud Anonymous. Oh yeah, that's real. That's just like being in a federal penitentiary, of course. I want to give an update, actually. This might be a new segment on the show in terms of... Maybe we should just make this a thing on the show, okay? This is Florida Man of the Day, so check it out. This is what the residents here in my state, not my home state, but my current resident state of Florida, what we are up to in the meantime, okay? Check out this video. Check this out.
Hey, guys, I'm in the Florida Everglades, and this alligator's coming right after me. I don't think he knows who he's dealing with, but he's not the only one to watch out for. There's at least 50 of them right in front of me.
He's just like, hey guys, I'm in the Everglades. There's 50 alligators out there. What a king.
You just gotta tickle the water a little bit and...
He's tickling the water!
You need to mind your manners, little fella. My swamp stompers are not food. Bullfrog. Yoink.
He's like, yoink? Let me take the frog. Let me antagonize an alligator and then just yank a frog. Let's watch that again. Hold on.
You need to mind your manners, little fella. My swamp stompers are not food. Bullfrog. Yoink. I'm sorry, little guy. Go free. I was flirting with this barred owl for over an hour. I think she loves me. This big old swamp puppy's sleeping. Let's try not to wake him up. Then the owl started going ballistic and woke him up. You guys hear that? Holy crap. Oh, he's awake now and he's coming for me. Swamp puppy's on a mission and he wants me. And he's a big one. He's missing an eye, probably from fighting with other males. He's walking up to me all weird like a zombie. Now we're just playing hide and seek. He hears me. Listen to the stomps.
He's just casually playing hide and seek with the alligator. What a king. This guy's name is Fishing Garrett, by the way. He does all these videos. The guy literally, he's just crazy. He goes into the Everglades at night, barefoot. You see, he's freaking barefoot. He just walks around. Hey, guys, I'm in the Florida Everglades here. Oh, wow, look, there's 50 alligators in front of me. That's just normal day, normal day in Florida. I'm thinking we need to make it a nightly segment reacting to this guy, because this guy has so many videos. He always does this every single time. He's crazy. I love this guy, but he's crazy, okay? He's actually not crazy. He's just average Florida man. It is true. But, you know what's funny? You know what's funny? I will say, as a non-native resident of this state, I arguably have adapted quite well because, everyone always is out of state is like, I'm so scared of alligators. Why? Why are you scared? I mean, in the water, sure. See, him stepping in the water barefoot, that's crazy. At night, I'm like, yeah, I probably wouldn't do that. But I don't know. I find them to be kind of cute, to tell you the truth. Crocodiles are hideous, but alligators, like their short little face, I actually think they're cute. I kind of like them, and they're not super scary either. Just like they just sit here like this. They just lie here all the time. You ever seen alligators the way they just sit there? Then they walk like this. They're funny. They're adorable. I have a video actually holding an alligator on my Instagram. You can go check it out. But yeah, okay, there is Florida Man of the Day. With that said, we will move on full leaf here for a few minutes. By the way, we're going to do a members block tonight, chat, most likely, but it'll be a little bit later because I got something to edit. I got to edit a short, and then maybe like 10 p.m.-ish, if you guys are still around, we will probably do a members block, so be sure to join us then. But for about 10, 15, 20 minutes here, we will get caught up on your super chat. So we are officially open to Q&A, questions, comments, anything you want read and answered. Feel free to send it in via these super chats, and as usual, your super chats are greatly appreciated for supporting the show. I don't know why I punch when I say super chats. I've been making that a thing lately. I don't know what it is. You know what's funny? It's like ever since I started going to the gym, which I have, I literally just, when I naturally talk, I'm just like, yeah, so we're gonna like save babies today, and we're gonna go donate to a bunch of children's charities. I don't know, I don't know why I do it. I don't know. I should stop doing that. I'm not trying to punch the super chatters or the children's charities, but okay. Anyways, let's get caught up here on your super chats, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Sash McFlash for $3 Canadian says, play the game Astronomical Club for Queers. Do it. Thank you for the $3, Sash McFlash. I mean, the thing is, if I play a game that's quote unquote for queers, I don't know if that'd be optically a good look. I think people would, if I can, what is this game? Let me see. What is this game? Also, does it have certain slurs in it that are gonna, get us in trouble? Wait. Let's see. What is this video game? Let me take a look at this. Adventure game with simple mechanics where you can chat with friends and take a closer look at the stars through the telescope. Friendship is the most important thing. You are a transgender civet named Louis. Why is that a game? So you just go and apparently in this game you just go and look at the stars, but you're also transgender. What is this game? This looks like, this sounds so stupid. It's for Nintendo? My goodness. Thank you for the 3. I mean, I'll have to go check it out. I don't know, though, if I want to play a game that's for queers, because people are going to be like, oh, he's playing the queer game. He's queer. Like, you know what I mean? But thank you for the $3 nonetheless, Sam. I appreciate it. Sam Nwing for $20. Thank you very much, Sam. A big super chat there says, keep it up, Vince. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, my Vietnamese brother. I appreciate it, okay? Thank you for the $20. You keep it up too, Sam. I appreciate it very much. God bless you. Small Graydon guy for $2 says, Obama or soda? Very interesting question there, Small Graydon guy for the 2. Thank you for the 2. Okay, so this is his question. Obama or soda? So on one hand, we have the 44th president of the United States. On the other hand, we have soda. I don't know. I think I'd have to take the soda to tell you the truth. I mean, as some of you guys may know, Obama has just been crashing at my house for some reason for several months at this point. I think at this point he's there, he's in the living room. Some of you guys have seen him. He's there in the living room. He just sits there. He makes these, I want to just kick him out, but I feel bad for the guy because he's scared. He's like, Michael, Michael's keeping me hostage. Michael. He's scared of this guy named Michael. I don't know. And he says this person Michael lives in Martha's Vineyard and is very terrifying and all that stuff. And I'm like, well, I don't want to send him back to I don't know who this Michael character is, but I don't want to send him back because, and then he sounds like he's pretty terrorized by this individual. So I have no idea. I have no idea. But as you guys know, yeah, some of you guys may know if you know, you know. Obama has just been casually staying over at the house for some reason. Your guess is as good as mine. But anyways, thank you very much. Burgundy Blue for $5. Thank you very much. Says, could you read the first paragraph of Sun Yat-sen's Wikipedia page? It is very interesting / attention grabbing. Okay, let's see. Sun Yat-sen on Wikipedia. Sun Yat-sen, by the way, he was the leader of the Kuomintang of nationalist China. For people who don't know who that is, he's the guy who fought against Mao Zedong early on in the early days of China. Sun Yat-sen was a Chinese statesman, physician, and political philosopher who served as the first provincial president of the Republic of China, first leader of the Kuomintang. He is called the father of the nation in the Republic of China and the forerunner of the revolution in the People's Republic of China. That's kind of funny. The Chinese communists claim that Sun Yat-sen was the revolutionary one for his instrumental role in the overthrow of the Qing dynasty. Well, I guess that is true. During the Zhenhai Revolution. Sun is unique among 20th century Chinese leaders for being a widely revered figure by both the Chinese Communist... Oh, so actually the Communists like him. I didn't even know that. Communist Party in mainland China and the Nationalist Party in Taiwan. That is very interesting. That is very interesting. I actually did not know that. I always assumed that the Chinese Communists didn't like Sun Yat-sen. But I guess if he was not part of the Qing dynasty, then I guess they say, oh... we like him. He was not with Dynasty. He started revolution. He just like us. Oh, so maybe that's what it is. Okay, well, there you go. Friendly Medic for $5. Thank you very much. Says, Smosh Bros, we're so back. I don't even know what that means, Friendly Medic. What did Smosh do? I have not heard the name Smosh in years. Or is that a reference to something? What is he doing? Apparently, they're going to reunite. Oh, so Smosh is back. They're going to acquire the comedy brand from Rhett and Link. Okay, well, there you go. Anyone who is old enough, I say that as I'm like very young. Anyone who's old enough to remember Smosh, because it's been a while on YouTube, apparently they're back. So there's the news. Thank you for the $5, Friendly Medic. I appreciate it. Brandon Gross for $10. Thank you very much. Says, Vince, I have read most of the Bible recently. Jesus was a certified badass. Do you think realistically he had the powers? You think realistically Jesus had powers? I'm afraid I'm stumped on this. Please help me. Thank you for the $10, Brandon Gross. I mean, personally, yeah, I believe in all the miracles that the Bible says that Jesus performed and beyond that. But, I mean, here's the thing. If you find the miracles unbelievable, he's the Son of God. He is God. Of course he has the power. Turn water into wine. Yeah, easy. Heal the sick, heal the blind. Yeah, easy. Just when you're literally the Son of God, I mean, of course, it's easy. Overcome death? Well, yeah. Boom. Walk out of the tomb like a G. I mean, think about it, right? So I absolutely believe that because I'm a Christian. I believe Jesus is the Son of God. I believe Jesus is God. So, yeah, of course he did all the things that the Bible said. I mean, if it stumps you, then, maybe you need to have trouble, like you want to believe, right? Which I do have a video explaining why I do believe in the resurrection and sort of the reason I see the evidence for it. You can go check it out if you are curious about it. But yeah, I mean, if you believe that Jesus is the Son of God, then of course, why wouldn't he, turn water into wine? That's easy. That's light work, So, of course he had powers. He's God. Yeah, exactly. That's I mean, it's, pretty easy. Republican Thinker says, apparently you cannot say commie in Superchat. Okay, let me see if there's a setting on my end I can change, because I don't have filters on the thing. Commie? Of course you can say commie, Let me see. I'm gonna try to go into my settings and see if it's a thing. Do any of you guys know? Any YouTubers know? I have no idea. I don't know. I have no idea. Who knows? Who knows? But anyways, okay, we're going to go up to about 9:10, 9:15 here, ladies and gentlemen. So last call for Super Chats. Anything you want to send in, questions, comments, things you want read on the stream, it is greatly appreciated. And while you're doing that, let's get the stream, ladies and gentlemen, to 150 likes. We are currently at 106. We got 99 viewers still in the chat. Everyone, leave a like on the stream, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to go and check that out. But yeah, exactly. Of course he had powers. Let's see here. Brother Yusuf. I haven't seen you in chat before. Brother Yusuf says, I'm a Muslim. Many of the prophets show us miracles allowed by Allah to prove that they're the ones bringing the message of the Lord. Well, obviously we disagree on that, Brother Yusuf, on the divinity of Jesus himself, but it is true, yes, biblical prophets even that are not the savior likewise are able to perform miracles even if they're just prophetic. So Brandon Gross, if that helps you, it's not that crazy, then I suppose. But okay, Hannah Salazar said, how did your presentation go? It was okay. I don't know, we'll see. Like I said, I have many stories to tell about this class once it's over, but we're gonna wait for the grades to be in, and then okay, I have some things to say. Okay, I have some things to, but I'm gonna bite my tongue, you know. The statute of limitations, the grading window closes this week, and then I'll tell you. I'll tell you. I got things to say. Okay, but I'll let you know. I will let you know next week. So, Aco24 says, "Walk out of the tomb like a G." How much more proof do you need? Seriously? Yeah, it's true. This is all the proof you need for Christianity. He walked out of the tomb like a G. Who do you know? You ever seen someone overcome death? Just walk out? Oh, he's dead. You know, grandpa's dead. No, you never seen it. Why? Because we're not on his level. It's true. We're not on his level. All right, let's take a look at what else we got going on here in the chat. Rhett and Link are comedy. I don't even know who Rhett and Link are. I have no idea who they are. Obama, not Obama. Same thing, Obama. President Obama. You never heard of President Obama? President Obama, not born in the U.S. Obama? True. You know, I saw... Actually, I'm not going to say it. We'll say it on the members block. Don't worry. But let's see here. What's got going on here? Will you be voting DeSantis or Trump? I feel like I'm going to be voting for DeSantis. It'll be my first time voting. Well, Ducks, I will be voting for Trump. I mean, I've explained the reasons why. I have a lot of different content explaining it. But in short, I still believe Trump is the best vehicle to advance the anti-establishment, like real conservative agenda. And I've explained the reasons why. I've explained why I don't really trust some of the figures, you know, around DeSantis. You know, I'm not going to go into it in the last few minutes we have here on the stream. I won't go into everything, but just to kind of keep it short and brief. I did not hate DeSantis as a governor. I love DeSantis as a governor, actually, but I have a lot of concerns about some of the people that are getting behind his campaign. It raises red flags to me. I think there's something going on there. And, you know, just furthermore than that, I still think Trump has it. And I think him trying to, you know, right all of the wrongs of his first term and really go after all the people in the establishment that screwed him over, I think that's the best angle to truly starting the wheels into motion that we need to really eventually take back the country. And I don't think DeSantis is the revolutionary guy who can do that. I mean, the way I see our country right now, and this kind of reflects, I guess, my worldview in terms of, see, I differ from some in the sense that I truly, in my opinion, recognize that things are super duper broken. Like the country's super duper screwed, which is why I say it's really like Trump or nothing. And not that I wouldn't vote for DeSantis in general, but really part of the reason I see it is it needs to be like Trump or nothing is because we don't have the time to just sit around, pass some decent conservative policies, fix some of the wrongs of Biden. We don't have time. We need a revolutionary. Okay. And the reason we do is because our country, I mean, we don't have a lot of time left, first of all. Think about demographics, you think about, you know, the economics, the inflation, where that's headed. our declining strength in the world. We really only have a few years to get things into motion and take back the country, and that's why I think we need someone like a Donald Trump who can come along and really tear down the system and put it back over again. Sash McFlash for $3 says RFK Jr. as Trump's vice president. Any thoughts? It's a very interesting idea. Thank you for the $3. You know, I would say I would prefer RFK very much over most of the people he's currently allegedly considering for vice president. I'd prefer RFK over Kim Reynolds, certainly a Nikki Haley, certainly a Kristi Noem. And you could see some degree of a crossover, right? Because it's the Kennedy name. He may reach some independents just with that last name alone, reach some independents, reach some Democrats even potentially. So I think it's a great idea. You know, I don't agree with RFK obviously on everything, but if he wants to go for the unity ticket there, and there are, like I said, and I said this last night, while RFK on some issues is a generic Democrat, there are certain issues that he's very based on that he's the only figure in all of American politics, Republican or Democrat, that talks about them, is what I will say. You can infer what those issues are. So, you know, I would not mind that at all. I think that'd be strategically a smart idea. I don't know if his voice is the best optics, you know, but I mean, still, Nikki Haley's voice is like nails on a chalkboard, if I were to be totally honest. So I mean, I'd much rather listen to RFK than that. But I do think genuinely that Kennedy name next to the Trump ticket, with independents, with Democrats, swing voters, it could do something. So I don't know how realistic it is. Truthfully, I don't think it's going to happen, but I would like to see it. And it would double down on Trump really being the populist, anti-establishment ticket, which is really what we want. That would really channel back some of that 2016 vibe momentum. So I'm all for it. I'm all for it, to tell you the truth. But I mean, we'll just have to see who he ends up choosing. So yeah, pro-choice. I mean, yeah, he's pro-choice. He's all this different stuff. But, you know, first of all, the vice president doesn't have a lot of power. My whole thing is, you know, people don't do a lot of unity tickets anymore. It used to be a thing, though. But really, like I said, you know, all the generic Democrat takes are the Democrat takes. But some of the stuff he says about certain issues, okay, vitally important to the American political discourse. Like, incredibly important, you know. So, I mean, they'd have to work out something. Look, you can do a Bush 1980. You know, in 1980, Ronald Reagan actually approached H.W. Bush because H.W. Bush ran as a pro-choicer. And he approached him and said, listen, if you're going to be my vice president, you have to be pro-life. You have to change that stance. H.W. Bush, because he doesn't really have principles to begin with, said, okay. That's how he used to talk. He was such a nerd. That guy was such a nerd. Okay? Let me just say, no hate to anyone who wears glasses. But how can you respect a president who wears glasses? Put in context. Get LASIK. Are you serious? H.W. Okay. And then they had that voice too. Okay. My fellow Americans, let's build a new world order together. And Jeb Bush is the same thing. Jeb Bush is the same exact thing. Okay. Now W. Bush, I should say. He's just a bumbling idiot. He's a moron. So, you know. But actually, I find his personality a little bit more charming than that, to tell you the truth. He's a little bit better personality-wise than Jeb and his father. But, okay, Reagan, I will change to be pro-life with my glasses. Okay, Reagan. Okay, got it, understood. But that's what, if it happens, that's what Kennedy would have to do, you know? Okay, Trump, I will be pro-life. So, but I think that's a good idea. If they can make out a deal there, then I think it's a good idea. So it's glasses, lol. I'm just saying, I think if you're gonna run for president, I don't think you should have glasses. Especially the HW, he's such a nerd. He's like, hi. He looks like, you know, he looked like all the guys back in the 80s that used to do the like computer programming hi, I'm a nerd and I have big giant glasses and I work for the new company called Microsoft. It's like, I mean, if you're going to be, this is my opinion. If you're going to run for Congress, you're going to run for federal office, I get it. People have 4 eyes, whatever. Okay. You know, no hate. I was actually born with good eyes, believe it or not. That's contrary to my genetics, but I have perfect vision. But if you're going to do the glasses, you can't do that running for office. You just can't. You look like a nerd. You literally are the nerd emoji, right? So I think if you run for office, either do contacts, fine, or do LASIK or whatever it is, you know, just honestly. Okay. HW was a calculating, cold-blooded killer. The fact that you think he was a nerd is because he wanted you to. Well, maybe that's true, but if he wasn't such a nerd, maybe he would have beaten Bill Clinton. That's part of the problem with Bill Clinton, okay? Bill Clinton had charm. Bill Clinton had riz. Criminal riz. Very illegal riz, but he had it. He had it, right? And that's part of the problem, okay? Because he was charismatic. He was slick Willie. You know, he's cool. Quote unquote. You know what I mean by that. He came off to people as cool. Obviously, he's a scumbag and a criminal, but you know what I mean. So you had him who's like, yeah, you know, yeah. That was him in 92. And then H.W. Bush was like, the reason I raised taxes, even though I said I wasn't with my glasses, is because... That's the problem. That's the problem. You know, he can't have that. He can't have that running the country, you know? He probably would have won. He could have won if he wasn't such a nerd. It's true. It's very true. Burgundy Blue for $5 says, it's not the glasses. It's the glasses plus being scrawny plus the nerdy voice. Well, it all compounds itself. He was a World War II veteran, but he gave off the demeanor of a substitute teacher. Yeah, exactly. That's what he was. Yeah, exactly. That's great. He's a substitute teacher. I remember I had substitute teachers in middle school that I swear they were exactly George H.W. Bush. That was a problem. That was a problem with him. Yeah, it's true. It's true. If he wasn't such a DNG, he probably could have won a second term, you know? And while I have a lot of criticisms of HW, and I would have voted for Buchanan in 92, I should say, I still think the country would probably be better off if Bill Clinton never got that first term, because you would keep the Republican super coalition going, you know, that Reagan coalition. You could basically sweep the White House for several years on end. And in the long term, we'd probably be off in a better place, you know? We just would. Things would be better. Things would work out better, in my opinion. But we couldn't because HW was such a DNG. My fellow Americans, we can come together. This is a great day. It is a great day that the Soviet Union has fallen. Truly, freedom has rung across the world here on December 26, 1991. My fellow Americans and friends of the world, together we can build a new world order together to make the world safe for democracy. Yeah, no wonder he freaking, it tells you how strong Reagan was, that he even won his first election, hi, I'm here to advance to what Ronald Reagan did. And then, freaking no new taxes. I'm gonna raise taxes on those stupid Americans. They'll never know. Oh, well, I've lost re-election. Oh no. It's so, why? So. All right, let's see. Someone said I skipped Brandon's message. Where's Brandon? No, I read it. About the Bible? Yeah, no, I read that one. Which one are you talking about? Let me see here. Oh, here you go. Brandon Gross for $2 says, who do you think should be Trump's vice president? Thank you very much for the 2. My pick is either DeSantis. I don't know. He can't do DeSantis at this point, right? Because I think, considering how divisive the primary is going to be, I don't think that would be a bad idea. But, honestly, I like the RFK Jr. idea. To tell you the total honest truth, I don't mind it at all. I think... Yeah, I mean, you could say his optics or whatever, his voice, but it's not going to matter. A lot of voters are going to see that Kennedy name next to the ticket. It's going to be intriguing. It's intriguing to people. I'm not even the biggest JFK fan, but he's one of those presidents that's respected by most people in the country, Republican, Democrat, Independent. And, because he died, he has this martyrdom effect. So, I don't think it's a bad idea at all. I think if he wants to go for the whole, let me pick a woman and let me pick then I think Kim Reynolds is a good idea. I don't like Nikki Haley at all. Not the biggest Kristi Noem fan. Kim Reynolds, though, in Iowa, she's a pretty solid governor. I would have no problems with that. Let's see, who else? Why didn't I say that like H.W. Bush? Who else? J.D. Vance has not been in the Senate long enough to make an impact, but potentially someone like a Josh Hawley, in my opinion, might also be a good pick. And I think Hawley also is future presidential material, so he could easily pass off, the next ticket to Hawley, in my opinion, and I wouldn't mind that. So really, those would be my answers. If the DeSantis unity ticket's not possible, which I think might be strategically a smart move, I would say either RFK, Kim Reynolds or Hawley. Those are my big three. And they all come from different angles, a different strategy to choosing them, but I don't think any of them are bad picks. But all right, here we go here. Dirty Mike for $2 says Clinton only won because of Ross Perot. That is true to an extent, too. That's also true. Yeah, that is a good point. But Ross Perot only rose because H.W. Bush was such a DNG, so ultimately it's still his fault. Whose fault ultimately is it? If DNG Bush didn't raise taxes, would Ross Perot ever exist? No. But he's like, American, we are going to have to raise taxes because, oh no, Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait. Let's go to war. I don't know. I just feel like HW left a lot to be desired. He really did. He really wasn't even the worst president ever to ever exist. It was just, although there were some things that were pretty bad. But for overall, not the worst ever. But really, the big reason I hold contempt for his just inability to be a respectable leader is that he's like, the Reagan momentum could have gone on for several election cycles. There were 3 straight where Republicans sweep the country, you know? And you could have built this, Roosevelt style streak where, remember in the 1930s, from the 30s to the 50s, Democrats swept every single presidential election for like over 20 years. I think the 24 years. Like, hypothetically, you could have gotten something like that, maybe 10 years, 20, maybe a little less, but still, you could have gotten that type of streak going if DNG H.W. Bush didn't just come around and be like, we're going to raise taxes and I'm going to have zero charisma. You know? So, it's I hold contempt against H.W. for that reason. Just a nerd. Teddy Roosevelt has glasses. L for you. Okay, Teddy Roosevelt was also president in the freaking 1910s, okay? So, things were a little bit different back then, all right? And then furthermore, you know how else had glasses? Woodrow Wilson. Nerdiest president ever, okay? So what do you say to that? There's your counter. What do you say to that? So you got 1, I have 2 bad presidents. You have, whoa, this guy, okay? Also, Teddy Roosevelt was allowed to wear glasses because he literally was like a freaking professional boxer and cavalryman and all that stuff. And so you're not going to question that guy's toughness, okay? But there is no figure in modern politics today who was like that, who's just like a strong, buff Chad who's like, yeah, man, I wear glasses. What are you going to do about it, pal? You know? Yeah, man, I wear glasses. What are you going to do about it, sonny? Yeah. So that's the problem. That's the problem. All right, well, we got no more super chats. I'm going to wrap up the show for tonight. Everyone be sure to leave a like before you go, and be sure to join us tomorrow night, Wednesday night, for the next episode of the Vince Dao Show. I'm trying to think if something's happening tomorrow. Is anything important happening tomorrow? Is there something we got to live stream? I don't know. We'll see. I'll let you know. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, hold on. We got one super chat here from Republican Thinker. Thank you very much. Says, did you hear about Trudeau's ties to the CCP? Donations to Trudeau's foundation, even had a Chinese commie elected in Toronto, and private Chinese police stations running in Canada. Thank you for the $11. I did not hear about that at all. But you had a, how does that happen? How do you allow that to happen? That's crazy. They got private Chinese police stations running in Canada. Wow. Although to tell you the honest truth, they probably do a better job than the actual Canadian police stations, right? The Chinese police stations probably would have actually stepped in there for Billboard Chris. But that's crazy though. That's absolutely insane. I gotta look into that. Thank you for the $11 Canadian dollars, Republican Thinker. Thank you very much there on that front. Burgundy Blue for $5 says neocons be like billions must die for International Drag Queen Story Hour. DNG emoji. My fellow Americans, billions must die in order to promote Drag Queen Story Hour in other countries. All right, we got super chats pouring in here. Okay, so you guys know how to keep me going here. Thank you for the $5 Burgundy Blue. And Miguel for $5 says, would you believe me if I told you there was such a thing as America, I loving with conservative values, illegal aliens in this country that agree with you? Thank you for the $5, Miguel. I actually know that is a thing. I don't think it's a very regular or frequent thing, but it's actually very funny because it's true story, okay? When I was in early high school, when I was starting out the politics thing, a grade above me, I believe, who was an illegal immigrant, and when I first started making anti-illegal immigration videos and stuff, he hated my guts. He hated me. And then what's very funny is, I don't know, somewhere along the way he got red pilled, and he actually became a fan of me. And I had this illegal immigrant I went to school with who actually, you know, I mean, obviously, like, it wasn't his choice, quote unquote, to be here, right? His parents brought him over. But he actually was like, yeah, man, I'm sorry I'm a legal immigrant, but I actually agree with you. So I would believe, I mean, I know they do exist. I don't think they exist in large numbers, to tell you the truth. But I think, I'm sure there are quote unquote dreamers out there, especially that are like, yeah, I secretly agree with you, but my parents brought me here, which I guess is an unfortunate situation, right? But yeah, I would believe you. I actually had that experience in school. I had an illegal immigrant supporter when I was in high school. I remember that. Marsupial says, call ice on him. Why would I? He's cool. He's one of the good ones. No, it's real. It's true. No, I wouldn't. Not for him. But that's the thing. Okay, is California sanctuary city? It doesn't matter. I went to high school with so many illegal immigrants, okay? You don't even know. And there's probably more that I didn't know were illegal, but there's so many in my high school that were illegal. And in California, you know, there's no even complication. Oh yeah, you can enroll for school, go to college, even all that stuff. I think that guy goes to freaking UCLA now. He goes to freaking UCLA, undocumented, totally illegal. Well, so that's California for you. It wouldn't have probably made a difference, but, you know, I figure, here's the thing. When they passed the amnesty bill, okay, at least he can be the one guy out of the 11 billion new Democrat voters who is on our side. So whatever, you know, we'll take it. Illegals should pay reparations, unironically the case. I agree with you. But all right, if we are all caught up here then, okay, I think we are. All right, for real this time, thank you to everyone who tuned in. Should we do the members block at 10? I don't know. I'll figure it out. Okay, we may do a members block tonight at 10 if I don't get too tired. I am kind of tired, but I'll let you know. If not, well, I know we haven't done one in a while. I promise either today or tomorrow we'll do a members block. Might be today, might be tomorrow. Just stay posted. I'll figure it out. Also, members, let me know. Would you prefer today or tomorrow? All right, but with that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you to everyone who tuned in. Be sure to leave a like before you go and join us tomorrow night here at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for the next episode of The Vince Dao Show. And until then, alpha moves only. Everyone have a very good night. God bless you all. And wait for it. Peace. See you guys.